Hi, friends. Oh, man. Push this button. Nice to meet Scott. Mess in here. Still, I got a big pile of stuff over there. Covered in bow shield. So I got that, like, industrial bowing lubricant protectant, all of those things. Seems cool. I think I inhaled some of it. My lungs have not felt pretty good for the last couple days, gotta be honest. But, you know, seems cool. So that's on there. Also put it on the plastic, stuff like that. I don't know, it's a little foamy. Smells a little funny. But here's the status. So the ESP32 stuff is annoying as all F, or the Matter stuff, I should say specifically. That Android library is working for lights. I got some cute lights over here. I can flip the lights on and off. It is not working for switches yet, which is annoying. Don't know where the issue is. Could be anywhere. I have a hard time dealing with that library. It's just the toolchain, not my favorite. Really janky, like surprisingly janky. Like surprisingly janky for something that is like supported by Google and Apple, like this central standard. I mean, you know, they're going to use their own implementations of it, I guess, and maybe that's the point. Maybe underneath it all, the protocol is good or the framework is good, but the like binary has it going, but like the tool chain, everything around it seems so bad, or at least all the ESP stuff, I guess. But even, I don't know, all of it seems bad to me. Like I was just trying to get their little Android tool working just to compile it myself, and it's like, oh, first you run these shell scripts to set up these Python scripts to build this Java project, because it's an Android app, to wrap this C++. It's just like junk on top of junk on top of junk, like really irritating. So pausing from that for a moment, I posted to the repository of the person who's doing the Arduino library saying like, hey, I was trying to get a switch working. Do you have any ideas? He did have some useful thoughts. Still isn't really working for me. So I don't know. I don't want to get too derailed by that because it's kind of not the point. It would be cool to get this working with Matter, but it's not a requirement. You know, there's other things we can do. We could homebridge it. We could do like some other weird Internet of Thingsy kind of thing. So I would like to get it working with Matter. But I just don't know if it's going to happen. I really don't. Or how or when or whatever. So let's just put some gloves on and start putting this thing back together and just like talk through some things that need to be done. The circuitry is not very complicated at all. The only thing that's a little annoying is just the 5 volts that I need to switch, but I've got 2 MOSFETs that are way overbuilt for it, and it's working. In fact, do I have it added? I don't. So I have the broken version, so maybe at some point I'll recompile and put my working version back on there, but soon I'll get the device. So I'm gonna mess with the audio for a second. So from this audio, sorry, that's probably not gonna sound very good. I guess I could put I think I have a noise filter on this one. So I do have noise suppression, so let me put noise suppression on this. Maybe that'll help the noise a little. Looks good. Okay, hopefully you can hear me if I move over here and start talking. Hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. Got some cool nitrile routes. Can't speak. I was thinking about getting a little lav mic to be able to walk around and do stuff. Maybe I'll do that at some point, but I can just guarantee you that if I get a lav mic, I'm going to forget about it and I'm going to go to the bathroom one day and you're going to hear me pee or worse. So I don't know. We've got to just make sure we're all ready for this. Okay, so let's just check all this out, think about it a little bit. I think I'm going to reassemble the panel even before I start like testing all the switches and stuff, just because it feels kind of nice to have it all together. So this is all shiny now. That shine is the bow shield
My understanding was that it would dry fully, but I don't know. Seems still not quite dry. I mean, I live in Portland and it's cold and damp kind of, so maybe that's the issue. Um, I didn't put much on the inside, really just like whatever residue was remaining. Um, but yeah, covered the whole thing in it. You can see though on my glove, I don't know if you can see actually, but like some slightly shiny spots. It feels like it's not totally dry. Um, so I don't know, and I feel like my lungs are not very happy with this situation. So, can we remember where the buttons go? My recollection, and I probably should just have the graphic up, is that green. Oh, well, we labeled these, so it's fine. Okay. So that is green. I forgot. I lost the labels on some of the. Or I cut the labels off of, I should say, of some of the wiring. So, also put a little bow shield. Bow shield? I don't know how to say it. That does not seem to be the right one. That must go with, maybe the E-stop uses that one. Can't really tell what I'm looking at. Okay, that seems reasonable. I should have aimed the camera up, but oh well. So let's just try to reassemble this. I didn't test all of these buttons. I'm going on the assumption that they work. They seem to be like they all have the same mechanism. It's not right either. Are you supposed to have this giant hole? Or these almost are all the same. Oh, actually, no. There's two of them that have small holes. And three that have holes like this, which I would have assumed would have been the... But this doesn't thread all the way. Okay, what am I... Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot about the grommets. That's what these spacers are for. So each of these has a stack of 3 grommets that go behind them, and I guess that's really just to stand them off a little to make the height correct. That would make some kind of sense. Yeah, okay. That's what I forgot. Cute. That seems good. ERC2. I got the grommets again. I did test one of the buttons. It seems fine. I think we will use an extremely simple button circuit. Okay, yeah, speaking of the circuitry, the button should be dead simple, right? We'll just plug those. We may even just like daisy chain 3 volts across them, and then have the have a pull down resistor. I assume we can do a pull down on the... Is that how we want to do that? I mean, we could do it either way, honestly. But yeah, have them all pulled down. There's some normal way I do it, and I just need to see how I normally do it. Have them all pulled down, and then have them go high when you hit the button. Is that normally how I do it? I'll have to refresh my memory. And the black switch also wants some grommets. Anyway, so but it's basically we'll use the internal pull down or pull up, whichever I choose, for the just on the microcontroller, assuming that it has pull down, pull up, which almost certainly does. ESP boards seem very featureful. That's easy peasy. The 3 volt LEDs, sorry, the LEDs we're going to power 3.3 volts, let's say it that way, will also be pretty easy peasy because we will, these different heights, I guess all of these are the same. We'll just calculate the resistor value that is appropriate for that. And which is going to be whatever, something under 100 ohms, I guess, or maybe about 100 ohms. We'll see. Let's figure that out. And then the only thing that's slightly annoying, and not that it's that hard or whatever, is that our little LED strips for the top buttons, this e-stop switch is just crazy. It's very robust. Those need to be powered with 5 volts. All our pins are only 3.3 volts. So we'll just use some MOSFETs for switching, and I don't know. I feel like I always do something wrong, or there's something wrong when I think about what MOSFET or transistor or whatever to use for something like that, but it's not like it's going to be a complex thing or need like crazy high switching rates or whatever. I mean, if we choose to do PWM, it will be fast. We will do fast switching, but I don't know. I think it will be okay. I forgot the grommets again. Yet again. I forget the grommets. Or washers? What would we call this? I guess in this case they're kind of like washers. Spacers. Okay. Looking lovely. So, yeah. So it's really just whatever board we do, which I'm thinking it's going to just be a little proto board kind of doodad with, oops, yucky. With some screw terminals, I'm thinking. Keep it easy. Plug the screw terminals right in here. How did I not clean that? That looks gross. Still feel like this thing is dirty-ish, but it was like so beyond filthy to start with that I don't know. The bar is does that mean the bar's low or high? I don't know. The bar's low in terms of a definition for clean because it was so dirty. But it means it will be hard to get to actual cleanliness. So yeah, we got some board. We slot the microcontroller into that board. That board will have 2 MOSFETs or whatever. They're going to be switching using 3.3 volts to switch the 5 volt supplies to the little LED strip dudes that we did last time. There'll be 3 resistors ready for, and we'll just power those directly from the pins, I think. The indicator LEDs that go on the front. I don't think those have to be fancy. All right. And then, and then I just don't think the switches need anything fancy. I really don't. Like the only one that's slightly weird, I guess there's 3 that are weird. This one is a little weird, but I think it essentially just, how did this work? This little nipple. Did I tear this up in trying to clean it? I kind of can't tell. Like, did the bow shield eat this, or was it just that corroded to start with? I don't know. Kind of gross. We'll see how it goes. I don't know that there is a meaningful up and down on this. So this seems to have just so like float open and then closes one way or the other. So I think we'll just treat it like it's 2 switches, I guess. It's a little torn up around the bottom. But what can we do about that? Nothing? So I guess the idea is that I tighten this as much as seems reasonable and then make up for any looseness with that back bolt, which is very, very thin. I don't know. This little base thing is a little torn up. Oh, that's like the skinniest little. I feel like. Okay, maybe we just call it good. So it's just, okay, we have this like totally just a momentary switch. We have this totally just a momentary switch. They're kind of hard to push, which is a little bit of a concern. I mean, as far as like just having this as a mounted thing, it's not like you can just, you gotta like really, it's like a two-handed job almost. I wonder if there's like some adjustment for that tension, I just don't know. So these are momentary, 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 no big deal. This appears to be like, even though it looks like a switch, is actually like two momentary buttons. And then this is a switch, but it's like a locking switch, which is a weird one. So I don't know. I mean, that's another big question with the whole matter thing of like, what can the switches be? And then this e-stop switch is also essentially a locking switch. I like the e-stop switch, it's cool, but anytime you hit it, it locks, and you have to twist to reset. Okay. So we have all this, it's looking quite nice. Reasonably pleased with it. And then we have all of, like these are not straight. But if I mess with them too much, I'm gonna break them. Then we have our little LEDs that we glued, which we will probably just make little, we'll just solder little sleeves on, and that'll be easy peasy. I seem to remember the little rubber washer goes on the outside, and the little, this little ring goes on the inside. Don't remember which is which color lights though. So that is, Try to get the color shield on everything I own. Let's see if we can tell from a picture. What color the lights were originally. Okay, so it looks like, I mean, we could always swap them, it's not that big of a deal, but while we're at it, so green, seems like green was here above the green button, which would make some kind of sense. Maybe the, actually I think the little rubber grommet was on the inside. But I seem to remember it actually like pulling through when we put it on before, but it may not actually matter, we'll see. Listen, I'm doing everything I can to appease the box police, which I am the commissioner of the industrial console police. I've really been thinking more about this idea. So the term, I'm not sure if I mentioned this on stream yet, but the term I've been using in my mind for this is, in the last few days, is industrial taxidermy. I think I couldn't remember that last time I streamed, but I like it because I think it's like, I think it has all the right connotations for what I'm trying to do here. I'm like trying to take some beautiful thing that is dead, not bring it back to life in the form that it previously lived, but instead bring it back to life in a new way by gutting it, cleaning it up, stuffing it with new guts, and going from there. So that's the term I'm using for this new art form that I'm working with here, industrial taxidermy. And it really would be nice if the matter thing worked. Like, I think that would just be such a I don't know. That would be a way that I could feel like I could make these, and in some crazy future, I don't know if we live in this world, but in some crazy future, like I could make these and these kinds of things, and people could buy them, like finished artworks, but then they could also use them, essentially. Like they would also be able to easily connect them to whatever, using whatever. But I don't know. It does seem so. Binary, that author of that library, did post some chart. I guess it was maybe from a developer talk or something. I'm not sure. That made it seem like the generic switches are not supported by HomeKit. It made it seem like you had to use that only on-off switches were supported by HomeKit, which is a little weird because I think an on-off switch, sort of according to the idea of the spec, an on-off switch is supposed to be for turning a light on and off, or like specifically pairing to another Matter device or whatever to be turned on off. But it seems like it's just not supported. Well, I did this in completely the wrong order. Well, nuts. So I think, I guess the takeaway of that is I think I was barking up the wrong tree with generic switch, even though reading some Matter issue threads, it seemed like generic is actually the appropriate thing. What sucks so much though is like even in their like reference implementations, all of that just have so much additional garbage. There's just so many layers of crap that have nothing to do with what you're trying to do. There's just all these like abstraction layers. Like it even seems that the way expressive seems like the way they want you to use it, the way they recommend you use it is like, oh yeah, you want this driver layer for devices. And I don't want that. I don't want like some additional layer. I want just the minimum, you know, like whatever the minimal implementation is to get it working. Okay, well that's a little crowded, but okay. Yeah, Google, I think Google, actually, what day is it? This week, at some point this week or next week or whenever, they're with the right version of whatever it's called, the Nest, whatever, Hub, Nest Home, Hub, whatever, is going to support Matter 1.0. So I think that's coming very soon, which hopefully will help the person who's building that library do some more testing. I almost was tempted. You know, it's tough because you never can tell with somebody like this, which I can relate to fully, is like, is this guy like introducing this to the world because he wants to like build this and maintain it, or was he just messing around, or was he just building it himself? Like, there's always that question of, you know, I have this a lot. Like when I put a thing into the world, it's like, oh man, it's now my responsibility to maintain this for everybody. Yeah, it's weird. I'm pretty confused by it. I really don't. Like, on the one hand, it's great. Like, conceptually, it's great that, like, oh man, it's great that there's like an open spec that all these big manufacturers are are moving towards. Like, that feels like it was sorely missing, and it almost is shocking that Apple and Google are basically their day one. Not really, but basically their day one. Or with 1.0 support, but it just feels so janky. And I mean, I get it. I'm not like, I'm so just not the priority in any way in any of this, just like the weirdo that just wants to make weird things. And I'm sure all these manufacturers are going to have all their own abstraction layers or whatever. I would have liked to clean these up a little more. I think they're cleaned them out a little bit, but just do some quite grubby. Gotta get some pics one of these days. Maybe that should be on my Black Friday list. Wait, today's Black Friday. There's just like an amazing degree of gunk in here. Okay, I'm not gonna fixate on the gunk. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I guess it's one of those things where it really feels like it has the danger of being an extreme chicken or the egg kind of problem, where it's like, oh, well, like nobody uses this spec. No device manufacturers use this spec, so why would the like home ecosystem people support it? And then the inverse being true also, like, well, why would the no home ecosystem supports this, so why would the device manufacturer support it? And on and on and on. You know, that kind of was very rusty in the corner. Maybe I did not adequately bow shield that. So, you know, as far as just, it's one of those things where adoption feels like more of a challenge than the technology. I mean, not that I'm sure it's challenging to do this. I'm sure there's lots of problems that I'm not even imagining as far as like making this ecosystem work, or this like, I mean, it's weird. I don't even know what word to use because it's so many different things. Because supporting Matter is one thing, supporting Thread is another thing, and so it's just my hastily glued yellow LED feels a little loose in there. Okay. So on the one hand, yeah, I guess in some ways it's like, oh, this almost seems like a best case scenario as far as just something is happening, something is moving. But yeah, it's a weird one. I think I kind of want a parts washer, like an automotive parts washer. I guess if I kept this up, that is something I want. I mean, this is still quite gritty. I did try to clean it. I cleaned it a lot, but it is very gritty. I would kind of like to have a parts washer. I would kind of like to have a sandblaster. Would be really fun. It's one of my favorite parts of watching some of the restoration video channels on YouTube. I think my Mechanics, is that the name? Someone in Scandinavia. This is my favorite. But it's always, he always strips paint and then uses sandblaster to like, as a starting point for many parts. So, okay, this is our reassembled device. Well, it's not, because I forgot to put the lights on. The dirt just never stops coming off, no matter what I do. But so I guess what I was about to say is there's some appeal to the idea of being like, oh man, I could just fully sandblast this and kind of start from scratch. But then I lose a lot. I lose a lot of sort of the interesting wear on it. So if this is a hobby I keep up, which who knows if I will, maybe sometimes I would try to do like full restoration, back to brand new, or like clean it and then reinterpret or whatever. Like, I don't know. We're just kind of making this up as we go along. What I do know is I've had a fixation on kind of industrial controls for a long time without really knowing what to do about it. And this feels like a kind of interesting thing. So I'm gonna take these out, and then let's just stick in those bulbs while we're at it. So I'm almost tempted, and then maybe I can't even think of a reason not to do this, but I'm almost tempted to just like wire all these up with just too much length, and then just run all the wiring out of the bottom, and then just for now keep the brains outside. You know, just to do that. I mean, I actually, now that I say that, that would be a way that if I wanted to, I could build a base for this that was not just a stand, but slightly like a little enclosure. And then that's where the electronics could live. I don't know. Okay, so I don't really remember which was which. Looks like yellow's on the left. Okay, so we have our fancy modified dudes. Yeah, I don't know. We could just go right into it and start like doing the full wire up. There were little grommets on these. They're kind of in terrible shape. This had that blue, whatever it was, some kind of sealant or waterproofing or something, but it really was rough. Wait, where did the little... Oh, there it is. I do have a bunch of grommets, but of almost certainly the wrong size. Oh, that just falls right through. Great. You can get, and the thing that could be cool, and I just don't have any of this stuff, and it would be so low on the list of things in terms of like equipment that I need or want, but you can just get sheets of gasket material and then use whatever the appropriate punch is or whatever to this just feels like a fool's errand. I don't know. We need a little gasket there. What? My gasket's in there. So, I don't know. I mean, these seem ineffectual and really stretched out. That's probably why there was all the blue gunk all over them. I'll just stick them in there for now, and then maybe we will decide otherwise. So, yeah, I don't know. So I guess the two big remaining things, I think we're kind of like, as far as sort of cleanup and restoration, say we're in a reasonably good place on that, just because I don't really know what else I would want to do at this moment. Kind of considering revisiting the insides of these lights, but I'm not super seriously considering that. Yeah, so then questions are sort of like, what do we do on the software side? It seems like some of the Matter stuff is definitely feeling pretty TBD. And what do we do on the electronic side? It doesn't really feel like, I don't know. It's good practice to design PCBs. I kind of like it. It's not terribly expensive to just order a few from China, so like part of me is thinking like, yeah, let's just do it, but we could really not necessary, especially for a one-off thing where you literally have a single instance of something. It's not really worth it. Okay, let's do a quick test here. What is my 5-volt rail? Do I have a 5-volt rail? My 5-volt rail is here. My ground rail is here. Oh, I did those backwards. Ground drill. Level drill? Buddy? Uh-oh. What have I done? What's wrong? I did it wrong again. Okay, let's try for the 4th time. There's only so many combinations here. Like, eventually I'll just have to have it by process elimination. Kyle, how's it going? I am a professional streamer. I did bother everyone on Discord, which I feel bad about, but Draklin asked me to, and Draklin, can't argue with Draklin. Draklin is in Oregon now, and there's some rumor that Draklin will be in Portland, Oregon, this very weekend. And so, okay, that looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. I honestly, I'm not even just saying this. I actually kind of like that it's slightly uneven. Kind of into it. I don't remember which side of this is hot or not. You know what? This is silly to do this because I literally have little jumpers right here. So let's say that red is hot. Hot. Let's say ground is not hot. Okay, is that happy? What makes you happy? What makes you happy? Turn the hot wire this thing. Okay. Okay, that one. Okay, there we go. I think that looks pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. Would this possibly reach if I ran it through the bottom? Even though I have no real place for these wires to go. Oh, that's funny. That would be kind of funny. Could run the power through that old little, what do I want here? Little Allen screw thing. Set screw pull. Okay. This is a bad idea. I have made a poor choice. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Not very good. A little boost. Okay. Cool. That looks like a cute, sad little robot. This little mouth. Okay. What a cutie. So this makes it so front heavy that it's going to just topple forward. So this was all a bad idea. Okay, I do like the wires through the bottom is not a terrible. I do like. I thought that was his mouth. You think that's his or their mouth? I think it's their. Oops. Eyebrow? Could be. I don't know a lot about industrial robot anatomy. Okay. So, how do we want to handle this? In terms of wires, what do we actually need? We need to get ground in here. Or do we just say we need to get 5 volts in here? And then we ground all the buttons and they're pulled high. Gosh, which way do I like to do that? There's a reason to do this. Let me think through it for a second. Pull up resistor. And then when you ground it, it's grounded. I feel like that's what I normally do, right? That I would normally do a pull-up resistor, everything's pulled high, and then by closing the button, is that true? Oh wait, or am I thinking about this all wrong? That's irrelevant in this case, actually. Or is it? Okay, let me think through this for a second. So essentially a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buttons. And what I'm saying is I want to, I just want to run ground in here and then have for all the buttons, that's what I'm saying. Those will all have pull-up resistors. When I press the button is grounded. Is that what I'm saying? I think that's what I'm saying. Pressing the button grounds the button. So that's easy. So that's one ground, obviously, and then seven wires. So that's like a 7-wire harness, right? So if I use the Ethernet cable, that's 8 cables. So one very silly thing I could do is just use the Ethernet cable for that. I will consider it. So a single Ethernet cable would handle all the buttons, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a ground.
Sounds, little ditties, tiny things.
Am I thinking of that correctly? I think so. I think we get all the buttons just from an Ethernet cable, as long as we daisy chain ground. If we don't daisy chain ground, then we need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's not right.
That's
2, 4, 6,
stuff out is because
10. Yeah, this has 3 connections. So
or borrowing something that I heard.
10, and then this is 3, so that would be 13. So yeah, I'm inclined to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then daisy chain a ground across them all. But I think you would, for some reason, not do it in an industrial setting. I don't know, it seems like actually it was daisy chain to some degree when we took it apart. So that would get us all our buttons. Why is there talking when I specifically have chosen? I hate this. I want this person to stop talking, but I don't want to touch anything with Flow Shield on my fingers. So use this.
And I very much doubt, anyways, that any of the people that I listen to were the first ones to.
I wish I could like thumbs. I guess you can thumbs down. I very specifically choose spoken word because I find it really distracting when I'm trying to talk if some weirdo is talking. Okay, anywho. So we decided that a single Ethernet cable would handle all of our button needs, right? And then for our lighting needs, depends on exactly how we do this, but we could do a very similar thing. Okay, so just to be clear with buttons, there's no power. It's just ground and some pull-up resistors, and when ground happens, there's ground. So there's not, that cable's not even hot. The buttons are a little weirder because well, at a minimum, we still need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cables, right? But how do we want to wire So how do we want to wire the LEDs, I guess is the question. So buttons, I think we're decided on. For the LEDs, the way we want to wire them is what? Knowing that 3 of them are 3.3 volts and 2 of them are going to be 5 volts. We have a couple options on that. Yeah, it's funny actually. How do we want to do this? So we could do the switching on the high side. Meaning, okay, let's think about this for a second. Where's Life is Yours? So, I'm trying to think of when we do this without two different. So either we're basically running. I don't like the idea of that actually. Makes more sense to me to run 2 power cables. One 5.5 volt power cable that we daisy chain. Sorry, one 5 volt power cable and one 3.3 volt power cable that we daisy chain. And if they're pulled low, how does that work actually? Does that work the way I think it does? Okay, we're gonna have to test that on a breadboard actually. I just don't quite have in my mind how I would want to do that. And not even that it's hard, I just have to like think about what I want that to, how I want that to look, basically. Because that's the source. The drain here, drain, I think it's gate source drain. We're draining to ground. Excuse me. Yeah, so in this case we'd run 5.5 volts. We'd have 2 cables that came in here and they would just go to they would be switched to ground, basically. Can we do that with the other LEDs though?
What is this place?
Like, in other words, can we switch that low so that we're like, is that the right term? Syncing? I don't know. That's probably not the right term. I'm forgetting the right term. But in other words, the LEDs would always be 3.3 volts in, and then we would be, if that was pulled high, what would that do? Can we do that? I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I think we can, and I should know this, but it's one of those things. Haven't done it in a while. So, okay. Well, we got our beautiful box. Our beautiful box has some lights on the top. Feels like it will be very easy to handle with buttons because there's just nothing to it, right? That's just, as long as I have an old Ethernet cable, which I usually have an old Ethernet cable. That should be easy. And then we may change all this, like when we come up with the actual board, but as long as it's on a breadboard, this seems like the way to do it. And then another option is that those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That would take 1 too many. I was just trying to decide, like, do we just not solve this problem for the LEDs to start with and just run 2 lines each for them? But actually that doesn't fit, right? Because we need a minimum of 3 on top. Well, unless one of those... That's not true.
What is this place?
I mean, the like, very lazy way to do it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But that's crazy. I mean, we're already gonna have ground in there from the buttons. I don't know if any of these questions I'm asking are even making sense. Okay. Can I reuse these? Probably not supposed to, but I feel like I'm going to want them on again before the end of the stream. And I don't want to burn through a billion gloves. I don't think I can't. Probably silly to use gloves that cost 10 cents, but probably cost more than that. Okay, so, right. There's no power for, yeah, I don't know, the other option is we just kind of handle these differently, and we run those cables, get one 5-volt power supply, and then 2 cables where they will ground to, right? Where's that pin come in? Where is that pole? So that's pulled low. That is pulled low. That's the gate. So as the gate I mean, it feels like I can wire this such that all of those, again, that there's basically a 3.3 volt supply that goes in, there's a 5-volt supply that goes in, and then there's one cable for each of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 7 of my 8 cables. It feels like there's a way to do that, right? That feels like a reasonable goal. Right.
Kyle, thank you. If only I had some kind of indicator to let me know when I was talking. What I should just do is remove this mic from that other scene, because I'm never going to use this mic on the other scene. Or am I? Okay, Kyle, thank you so much. Wait, Kyle, you know about alert, right? Are you allowed to alert? Exclamation point alert? I think mods can do that. Yes, you can, okay. So in case of emergency. Wait, why aren't you a VIP? How do I... Does VIP still exist? Sorry, you can't explode here. You can only explode in rendered senseless. Oh, can you not be a VIP and a mod? Is that what it was? I don't remember. Okay. Okay, anyway, should be like the most basic thing on Earth. But I feel like the way this normally works would be, you'd be like grounding it, and then you just provide power here, right? You'd like, which is not what I want to do. Like, and in my mind, there's no reason I shouldn't be able to do this, but like, how can I, Arduino, is it okay? Sorry. Okay, is it okay to, I don't even know how to say this. Like, I want to, what is the question here? Like, can I ground through a digital pin? I guess that's my question. Is that okay? It is called syncing. Okay. Thought I had the wrong one. So how much current can I sink? Maximum 20 milliamps. I mean, the other option, just to be the safest baby of all time, if I want to be the safest baby, is just use MOSFETs on all of them and then just make them all the same. So I want to be the safest baby of all time. I mean, that's crazy. I don't really need to do that, but I could. I don't think I have to. I think it's really okay. Where's Life is Yours? Life is Yours' job is to just, I ask an electronics question that I'm not sure about, and then he just says that it's fine. And I don't even know if he knows it's fine. It's just what he says. So it's very helpful. But I think I can sync this, a single LED, right? Sync a single LED. Right? Right? So, and then if I had a MOSFET on the high side, but I think N channels are supposed to not be on the high side. Is that right? gate voltage to be about 10 volts higher, so maybe I can't do that. So I have to switch the low side then? Wait, I just said I don't want to switch the high side. I'm going to try to do everything on the low side. That's wrong. I want to do everything on the low side. And this is just... This is the gate. So this is just a pull down resistor on the gate. Right? So we can do that in the microcontroller. So this is source, drain, gate. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't think we need to think about it that hard, I guess is the takeaway here. We need a couple resistors on the Arduino or on the 3-volt side. I think we can sync the current. Let's just make an assumption about 3.3 volts at 2 volts. I think it's 20 milliamps. I think 20 milliamps is fine. I think we can safely sync 20 milliamps through a single pin, right? It said that the max was 40, so we're halfway there. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Okay, so if that's the case, which it appears to be, what do we want to do? Probably not cut up more Ethernet cables. I have a already cut up Ethernet cable here, but it's not. Which device is this? I don't even know. What is this? Oh, that is a Pico W. Is the Pico W going to get Matter support? Yeah, I've been reading about how to get Google Matter working on an ESP32 device. They made it ridiculously complicated. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I wonder. I mean, that almost guarantees we're gonna have to do. Curious. Okay, I think we switch everything on the low side, and that means we just feed power to this box. So we have a 5 volt, we have a 3.3 volt. Well, okay, one downside of doing it that way is then downside of doing it that way is like, then where do you put the resistors? That's interesting, because you'll have a voltage drop of the 5 volt, so that would take you down to what? So, just wondering, like, is my voltage drop across the LED enough? If it's 2 volts, then it's okay. Here's what I'm wondering. I don't know if this question even exactly makes sense. I mean, it could definitely be that I'm thinking of something very silly. I mean, I know. Like, does this question make sense? If okay. Like, am I just... Is this a crazy thought that if I am gonna sync okay, let's just try this because I don't quite have my brain. What I'm thinking of might be absurd. Might just be like totally wrong. What are you thinking? Oh, another red LED. Okay, just to explain my thought process, which again may be totally wrong, like a totally invalid, unreasonable way of thinking. Can I? So like we've decided we can sync. We're okay, like syncing. Up to 40 milliamps. So that's fine. So current wise, we feel like we're all good. And this may just be like some ridiculous thing that I should know better about, but can I this is the good one. This is when we were powering with, it's red at 2. This is a 220 ohm resistor because we were doing 3.5 volts. I think that's true, but let's see. Okay, just like go through this process in my mind for a second. Let's just decide how silly it is. Could have made this where I could get these out. Let me see. Maybe a bad idea. Maybe a bad idea. Okay. So here's just like here's the thought process. I got a 220 ohm resistor. We're gonna ground through that 220 ohm resistor, and then we're gonna feed this fellow 5 volts, which is this VN pin. Okay, so that ground is not actually grounded, which is a little annoying, but that's okay. Ground you. This feels like one of those things I should definitely know. And maybe did know at some point in my life, but oh well. Okay, that's ground. That's 5 volts. I'm gonna try to power this LED. With power and ground. So that's all fine. So the thing I just am not necessarily mentally processing. Obviously we started with 5 volts. Obviously. And normally one would say, hey, you've got a diode of some kind. You're gonna drop some voltage going across that, right? Like you got to pay your toll, like a normal little diode. What is Zener diode? Like normally I would think of that as being like okay, so that is DC voltage. So if we just started with measuring across VN and ground, we get 4.7 volts. But if we measure across the pins of our LED, what do we get? This really should be a thing that I know. We only get 2 volts. Well, that's weird, because that seems like the voltage drop is even higher. Wait a second. Wait, why is that true? I guess I'm only actually getting... That's weird. It seems like I'm only getting 4.7 volts, not 5 volts. My USB port not actually providing the voltage that it should. Interesting. Like VN, which I think comes straight from the USB port, it's only 4.7. So anyway, if we're at 4.7, we're dropping 1.8 or 2-ish. You'd expect 3 volts, like that we would have 3 volts over here at the end of the rainbow. But somehow I have about 2 volts. I don't think I can do this. I just don't think it's... I don't think it's reasonable. Just trying to think like, oh, could I just run 5 volts up there? But at the end of the day, that's me trying to connect a 5 volt source to these pins that are not 5 volt tolerant. Teensy is. The Teensy... But I don't know. I think there's just like some substantial flaw in my thinking here. I don't know about this multimeter. It was not a bad price, but I don't know. I don't know if I think it's any good. Or like that much better than my previous meter. Okay, so let's not do that. Let's say that plan is not a good plan. So let's just get, I guess, just hop back into fritzing and experiment a little with some thought experiments. Oh no! Oh no! Tied up my headphones again. Okay, it's safe now. Okay, so but I think I'm okay with this. I mean, or we just stick some transistors. What do we do, everybody? Did I lose my fritzing document? Okay, yeah, so this is what we were doing before. Like, this idea was that these pins would go high and they would be grounded. But we're saying we want to do the opposite. And that we want to sink that current. Right? 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 So we could put these, like, just flip this, basically, so that these go instead to the low side. And then we're just gonna, like, power them on the high side. Change these wire colors. Look at this. But I still have a weird connection there. That left over from schematic land? Okay. I feel like I broke everything in schematic land, but that's okay. Oh yeah, well, because this is now all wrong. Okay, reconsider. Reconsider. Instead, I think we want to put these we said, what did we say? We said that high side, we're going to power through the high side is what we said. And resistors on the high side. Is that true? Wait, that's the low side. Power through the resistor to the high side of the LED. Power through the resistor to the high side of the LED. Power through the resistor to the high side of the LED. And then your low side, delete the rat's nest line. Okay, so just to be clear, low side, low side, low side. So we're grounding all of these. Something doesn't feel quite straight here. High side, high side. And okay, also to be clear, in this scenario, our high side is .3 volts. So this needs to be 3.3 volts, and right now it's not. Right now it is, that's ground. We have a 3.3 volt supply on this side of the controller. Oh, we did. .3 volts here. One day I should use a grown-up diagramming tool, but today's not that day. Black. Okay, this is 3.3 volts. This pin is 3.3 volts. This is ground. So these are just ground. Here ground. 3.3 volts. It all is going there. Can't do any, I don't think you can do any simulation in Ritzing, but you can do this at least. Okay. So that's those LEDs, which this was kind of a silly way to wire this, honestly. Should just, even though the things are going to be on top of each other, I should just do this, and then we should do what? It's just a little tidier this way. Make these legs longer or like grow this. Probably not in the way that I want to. I just wonder if we could just like skip over a wire. Okay, anyway, well, this just feels so silly because now we're going to have this opposite problem where we have the 5 volt supply on the opposite side of where we actually want the 5 volts to be. Okay, I guess we could solve it in an alternate way. Okay. That's so annoying. That's 3.3 volts. We do get to this, right? We do get to this. And this is going to be, oops. It's not looking so hot. That seems maybe something like sort of correct. Very silly. Wait, where'd my other resistor go? Anybody seen it? Okay, so the idea is this. Very silly. Oh no! Idea, and that's like, I don't even know what these pins are. These 3 pins, I have no idea what they are. So we'll start with this pin, which annoyingly doesn't really let me go where I want to go. Lame. Anyway, that's you. The low side. The low side. Okay. Well, not gonna win any beauty patents. I mean, you know, in real life, you would just like bend this and have it span across that or something, but that's fine. Okie dokie. So, I guess I actually should be more aware of my spacing because we have 7 million buttons we need to add here. I just saw a heat click. Who's clicking heat? But I think this works, right? It's powered by, we have a 3.3 volt line going into the box. And we switch all these in the low side. The alternative is that we just run invert it basically so that these go high. We'd have to switch where the resistor was. But any advantage to that? So in that case, you run a single ground. You run a single ground. And then 3 data wires that are set to low, and then you set them to high as needed. So either way, it's 4 wires. I don't know which one I really think is better. I kind of like the idea of not having power inside, you know, like power just stopping anywhere. Feels a little wiser. I don't know, everybody. Let's make it smaller. So, I don't know. Then for these dorks, how does this work? I mean, in this case, we have to run power in there. Unless we switch the high side, and it's also really just... Can you do that? I feel like in my mind there's a reason you're not supposed to do that, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they'll say you can do the opposite with P-channel MOSFETs. Is that right? Anyway, it's only 5 volts, so. So instead of you, we just gotta. Huh, why is the basic FET P-channel FET, not an N-channel FET? Can I just do this and change it to N-channel? I can. So that's gate, drain, source. This is basically what I have now that I was testing with. So for this fellow, in this case, gate's going to be one of our digital pins, so like whatever. One of these chaps, gate. That's the gate. That's the gate. We'll pull it low in the microcontroller. Drain. I always mix these things up. Drain is going to be what's like hooked to the LED strip, the little strip. I have strips in here. Oh. Come on, buddy. From there, that is the drain, and then in this case, source is just ground, right? Source really. We just want source to be ground. I gotta wait for this to be lazy. Okay. What? What's your problem? I thought there was just like a little LED strip. Maybe not. That's okay. Let's call it LED. Okay, I'll just for now do this. It'll be very silly, but okay. So I forgot which is which. Okay, so these we need the 5-volt source. So both of their cases, it doesn't like this. It doesn't like it when you're off the thing, but what are we gonna do? Oh no. Oh wait, that thought it was like, ooh, weird. That is the leg. Oh, you can bend the legs around. Well, how about that? Shoot. Oh. No. Can I do this? I don't think you can do that just floating in the sky. Oh well. So just making a silly mess at this point. And what I'm gonna do is this. No. I don't know if we'll actually make it like this, but anyway. So, and then in this case, the source is this guy. It should be red. Oh, red. And then gate. That's drain. Drain, source. Drain, source, but we're syncing in this case. It's so confusing. So drain is where we want to be plugged into. Source is ground. Get out of the way. Ground. Interesting. Can't put the components on top of wires. Anyway, okay. So, and then now source is you. No. I mean, I guess I could do that, but it seems weird. Weird orange wire in my way. How do I do this in a way that isn't terrible? Beautiful. Gate. Oopsie. Is this wrong? I meant to have this here. Source, drain. Gate. I'm sorry, gate, drain, source. Good boy. Okay, so it's true. Okay, are you asking about the circuit or the box? This circuit is me just being so rusty at this and trying to remember what I'm doing. But the idea is that we will restore this box, and the ultimate idea is that it will just become a home automation device, so you can really easily like hook it to Apple Home or Google Home or whatever and have it both serve as input and output. I have a start on that, but it's a little annoying. We have alternate possibilities if that seems untenable. What automation do I want to do? Honestly, I don't care. I mean, I don't. It's funny because my drive to do this is not motivated by like, oh, I really wish I had this. It's more like broadly a distaste for like voice control and touchscreens and things. Like I really like physical buttons and I really like these objects. So part of it is purely kind of an aesthetic appreciation, which is why I'm starting to think of it as industrial taxidermy. So it is very much an art project, which I'm still sort of developing the artist statement about. But the general artist statement, yeah, revolves around industrial taxidermy. But you know, you could use it to turn on enough lights. You could make those lights turn on when you get an email or something, whatever. Easy enough. Well, easy enough if we get frickin' Matter to work. If we don't get Matter to work, then maybe we will. We just have to come up with some alternate things like webhooks or something that will do it. It'll be a little annoying. Like if it was purely an output device, it wouldn't be too difficult. And it was purely an input device, it wouldn't be too difficult. But supporting I/O in a way that's kind of easy and fun, a little bit of a challenge. I don't really know. I honestly don't exactly know what I would do. What would I do? Because I couldn't, you know, as an example, if it was purely input, I could just make it emulate a keyboard. You could just plug it into your computer or pair it with Bluetooth, and then it would just show up and it would be fine. And you could just make it press keys and have those emulate hotkeys. You can't output data to a HID device, right? Like normal human interface devices aren't really made for output. I mean, they really, do any HID devices support output? How to get to what you want. Oh, I miss how to get what you want. Oh, that was a great website. Kind of forgot about that. I don't remember this. So you can do raw HID. But then you have to have custom software, which I don't want. I want just like a keyboard, your mouse. That's what we want. Because I think a TNT can emulate a million things. ESP232 cannot emulate devices like this, which sucks. I mean, ESP32 cannot do like, you can do Bluetooth HID, but you can't, I do not believe it is possible to do the S2. I know you can do Bluetooth keyboard. I don't think you can do USB. Yeah, we'd have to like, that's what's possible. Anyway, it's still an imperfect solution because even if we can do the HID stuff, I don't know off the top of my head of HID devices that really support output to like set the buttons. So that's not a great idea. I'm kind of intrigued by this though. You really could just make it MIDI. That would be kind of funny. That would be kind of funny. and just do it with like control changes. So we could just straight up make this USB MIDI and not do any of the stupid home stuff. It couldn't be USB MIDI, but I believe you can do what's its face? Bluetooth MIDI. Although at that point, why even use an ESP? If we're not going to use Matter, just use the Teensy instead. So, so I don't know. I kind of like that idea. If we can't get the Matter stuff to work, just because it's so silly, is to make this thing a MIDI device. I mean, some version in my head is like, just make it do everything. Just every time you push a button, it'll send MIDI, it'll send whatever. It could just like, it has a little web server you can connect to configure it. I don't know. But then that's a lot of software to support versus just ideally Matter does the whole thing. Okay, so the whole function of this is just to control these LEDs and to come up with what our wiring harness would be. So in this case, we need one power and then ground. And in this case, we need one power, or not ground, output, essentially. So it's 1, 2, 3, and in this case, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 7 wires, so that would work on Ethernet. Do I have some random cables that have a bunch of wires in them? I wish I was better about this, honestly. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things that it's very debatable if this is good or bad. Like hoarding cut up wires. In this bucket that says wiring on it, I have a bunch of links of various gauges of wire. I do have a chopped up Ethernet cable. It's not very long, but if we cut this in half, it looks at my gut instinct is like it's just gonna be like a little too short and it'll be annoying. If we cut it in half, I mean. We have an Ethernet cable. I like using Ethernet cable for this kind of thing, just because it's so much wires in it already. USB cables can be okay, but they only have 4 wires max. Yeah, I mean, or you know, I just have like spools of cable or weird lengths of like rainbow ribbon cable is the term we want. Ribbon cable is kind of annoying to use. Like Ethernet cable is robust enough that it's fairly easy to use. Another box. And also have separately just some heavier gauge for power and then wiring harness stuff, but I don't know. So it seems like I'm going to start chopping up other cables, which I could do. We do have this cable over here that is much longer than it needs to be for no real reason. Could just snip off a bit of it. I just start collecting more Ethernet cables, especially older. Like, I don't need all the fancy modern categories. Okay, let me just give this a little snip. Little snip. Leave it. So, what do I do today? Should probably eat some food. How do I really feel about food and eating food? Okay. Oh, I have my cool, cute wire strippers, my new ones. I've not even used them that much. They're adorable. I have trouble stripping Ethernet cable without tearing everything up. Maybe the quality of the cable probably plays a role in that. I'm sure there's a trick to this. Actually, I'm positive there's a trick to this, and I just don't remember what the trick is. And there's definitely specialized tools for this little maneuver. Okay, can I do that without terribly damaging anything? Seems somewhat reasonable. So those are all okay. These are all okay. Okay. Yeah, I just should get a big spool. That's usually heavier gauge, right? I think that's... What is that? I know what you're talking about. What is the term for that cable? Or it's thermostat wire? Is that it? How many wires are in thermostat wire? Maybe that's 7. Okay, am I thinking? Maybe I'm not thinking of that. I'm maybe thinking thermostat wire. How many wires is thermostat wire? It might only be... It's 7. Okay. 5, 6, 7. Okay, I was thinking the wrong thing. You're thinking of... What is this? Alpha wire? Cool. I can bargain shop. Where's the Black Friday deals on this wire? I mean, for so much of what I do, Ethernet cables just make life easy. This is actually a fairly robust cable for an Ethernet cable. What class are you? 5E? It's not bad. It's like pretty heavy stranded copper. Okay, so here's my new strippers. Cool. Okay, I don't really know how to use these, but we'll figure it out. I mean, I do know how to use them. I just haven't used them much. The length is... Do you not set the... How do you adjust the length in this? You just eyeball it? Ugh, so cute. What a pleasure. What a pleasure to use these. So, did I do that without cutting everything? I think I left some wires in the sheathing, which is not what you want. Did I? Can't tell. Is it working correctly? I feel like it isn't. I feel like I'm losing one strand of wire inside the... This should be up to 24 gauge. This doesn't seem lighter than that. Okay. Apparently don't know how to properly use my German wire strippers. Do I have to do anything to adjust these? They're so fun, though. Maybe they're just too sharp, and I just need to use them till they get dull. Oh, they're so fun. They're not very expensive either for like German wire strippers. There's of course Knipex ones which are more than twice the price, that are lovely and do have a lot of adjustability, but this don't really feel needed. I don't know. Okay, I'll do one on camera so you can just see the pleasure. Let me twist these. So, all you do, you take your little friends, low wire. This. Take this little dude, feed the tiny dragon. That's it. And now you have a teensy little bit to pull off. I know you couldn't see that very well. Let's try it again. You see this? They're adorable. I'm gonna drop that inside my keyboard. Not ideal. Okay. So even with all of these cables, we still are gonna have to I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I really don't know. This one doesn't, I just got this one recently. I haven't really used it very much. It definitely doesn't have all the fancy adjustments of the Knipex. So I think you really, I mean, it has a little measurement at the front, which implies that you really can only go in to, like, you know, you set the length that you want stripped off just based on how much is slid in. I am a little confused by the measurements though, because it says, I don't know, yeah, I'm a little confused by how the measurements work. Because it sort of looks like 5 to 12 millimeters, but that's not, this is not 12 millimeters. That would be half an inch. So I don't really know. And I don't think you can adjust the tension. Maybe you can. But it's fun and it's cute and it wasn't all that expensive. Okay. So. One of these can carry all of our buttons. If we daisy chain the grounds. And one of these can carry all of our LEDs. And we will daisy chain the 2 power sources. Is that really what we're doing? I guess it is. I guess it is. I guess that's what we're doing. I mean, there's really no reason for me to do that, right? Like, I could, they don't have to match. So we could run 5 volts in and then some data lines. And run ground in and some data lines. And those would just go high with the 3.3 volts. And then the resistor, whatever the resistor needs to be, can live on the board side. Did I include that here? Yes, okay. So, having said what I just said, the reality is we need way more length. To fan this out everywhere that it needs to go, right? Like this? What do you think of that? Seems adequate. I think this can only ever do one at a time. I mean, now that I really look about it and think about it, I think it really can be, like, you couldn't do a whole... I think there's automated machines that will do that, like the end of a ribbon cable or something that would strip them all. This can't do that. This could only be one wire at a time. Okay, so that's probably enough of that. Let's tear this one up too. I don't know if I'm going to fully wire this today, but we'll at least kind of sort of semi basically act like we're just getting started. So my hope with the matter stuff is now, as I asked the guy on GitHub, he made some suggestions, I poked at it a little more, I'm still having issues. I don't really know how to test it effectively other than HomeKit. Like, presumably, if you have a full chip setup, you can test all the things. And I don't... But not just the app, I guess, because the Android app doesn't have everything. So I don't know, unless there's just something I'm really missing about the Android app, because to me it seems terrible, and like it doesn't do anything. But the... Oops. Aw, man. I just nicked one of my cables. Very badly. Well, that was lame. Okay, well, we didn't need all of the cables for the LEDs, right? So we need all the cables for the buttons, but not all the cables for the LEDs. So the LEDs, we just need 7, right? 1 per LED, and then... What do you think? Is it all it's all a ruse? Okay, so I think we just have to kill our poor sad And you mean switches specifically? Or just like anything that isn't a light? Something I did not try, admittedly, and I guess I could because I have the whole setup now, is to build... I could build their light switch example and try to get it up and running. Like, I think I have enough of the chip development environment set up that I could do that. Okay, these are for lights, I guess. And these will be for buttons. I mean, I don't think we're going to keep this. Maybe we'll keep the wires. I kind of like the wires. We could pull them out when the time comes. But this will just be our shortcut to wiring these up. So the idea, again, is each of these goes to an individual button. Well, one of them goes to 2 sides of that little momentary flicky switch. We daisy chain the grounds. So that means one of these is going to be ground, whatever we just, whichever button we designate as the royal ground. So that seems manageable, and that's very easy because they're just all screw terminals, so it's no biggie. I think blue is going to be ground, I've decided. Or should green be ground? Usually green means earth ground, not... This wire feels lower quality than this one. This one looks good. This, I think, was a Belkin cable. It was probably expensive. Could also... I think this is all fine. I was about to say, like, I could also just run power and ground into the box. Just use these for data lines. Okay. Well, if I did that, I'd need even fewer cables, huh? Anywho, I don't really. I think I'm gonna stop and go eat some food. Definitely didn't eat enough food today. I haven't had any leftovers from yesterday. This is criminal. But we made this nice little plant. We put the box back together. Kind of looks like a thing. I do kind of want to hook it up. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, I should go eat food. Okay. Anywho, all right. Wait, we didn't even have life issues today, did we? It said Kyle and Binary C. Good. Who needs him? I'm like a bit nervous, by the way, because that Twitch event where they were gonna use heat was German, whatever it is, CET, Central European Time. That should mean that it happened this morning. It should have happened this morning, and I didn't hear anything. And I didn't hear anything from when they were supposed to test it or anything. So like, I don't know, man. Does that mean it went very well? Does that mean it went very poorly? Does that mean the whole thing was canceled and I won't get paid? Does it mean, what does it mean? Classic German Twitch. I mean, it's not just German Twitch. You longtime viewers will recall that my Twitch interactions and experiences on a professional level have not always been the best. Not always the best. Or have not always panned out as one might have thought they would. This team, this person, this contact really does seem lovely. Seems lovely. So it would be a bummer. Like, it's that if we spend all that work, all that effort getting the heat up and running, everything's good, everything's happy, and then it's broken, that would be sad. Should we try to build that Switch example? I can't do it on this machine. Or I guess I could build it and not be able to program. I'll try it later. I'm gonna go make some food. Okay. Binary Kyle, thanks again for hanging out, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.